Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today I'm going to show you how to make a fabric cover for your houseplant pots. So if you have any like plastic pots sitting around that you want the plant in a plastic pot but you don't want the plastic pot to be showing, or if you just want to update your space with something small, these plant bags are a really easy thing to make, and you can do it without a sewing machine as well. If you wanted to, you could use hot glue instead of the sewing machine. It might not look as crisp, but it's definitely possible. And without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go over the supply list for this video, starting out with a water-soluble marker. You can use this or a pencil. Of course, you're also going to need a pair of sharp scissors, pins, and a measuring tape. And then for the fabric, I'm using duck canvas, which is like a thick canvas that is usually used for tote bags. This plant bag does not have a pattern, so we're just going to be taking the diameter of the pot, adding 2 inches, and then the height of the pot and adding 4 inches. So here I am drawing out my pot. So I measured out the diameter of my pot and I added on 2 inches to the diameter, and then I added on 4 inches to the height. And then now we're going to draw out our pattern pieces so that you can see a visual of what we're going to be cutting. So we need to cut a circle with the diameter of your pot plus 2 inches, and then we need to cut out a rectangle that is the height of your pot plus 4 inches. And then for the length of that piece of fabric, we're going to need to go back to middle school or high school geometry and do a little pi equation. I'm jumping over to make a smaller plant bag because I realized in the filming of the first one, it was really hard to see what I was doing. So here I have an 8-inch pot because I'm planning on making a plant bag for a 6-inch pot. So this pot just happens to be 2 inches bigger, so I don't have to do any sort of wild tracing like I did with the first one, and I can just trace this pot right here. And now we jump back to our high school geometry class where we take the diameter, which is 8, and then we multiply that by pi in order to find the distance around our circle, which for me ended up being a little bit over 25 inches. So now I know that I need to cut out a rectangle that is 8.5 inches wide because that is 4 inches longer than the height of my pot, and then 25 inches plus 1 inch for seam allowance for the length of that rectangle. Now, my rectangle ended up being a little bit too long for some reason, even though I did all the math, so we're just gonna blame the fact that I got a D in high school geometry, and I don't know, just kind of live with that because it ended up being fine because, you know, having too much fabric is honestly better than having not enough fabric, so I was able to fix it. It wasn't a big deal at all. But the next thing you need to do is fold that rectangle in half and sew together at the ends. I did about a 1/2 inch of a seam allowance, and then once I was done sewing it, I laid it flat and I pressed open the seam. The reason that I pressed open the seam was because I wanted to do something called a flat felled seam, which is a really common stitch in jeans. It just looks really pretty, and I'll show that to you later. But the next step is going to be pinning on your base the circle to your new tube, and this is really tedious because sewing along that curved line is a little bit not difficult, but it's just tedious. That would be the best word for it. So take your time, use a lot of pins to make sure that the curve stays curved, and take your time sewing this. Or if you are hot gluing it, hot glue on little bit by little bit. So don't go through it really fast. Make sure that you're taking your time. And this is me fixing how much longer it was. Like, look at that. That's like a probably, I don't know, 4 inches too long. I don't really know what happened. If anyone in the comments like is good at math, maybe let me know what happened. When you sew along a curve, you want to make sure that you clip the inside along the seam allowance to allow the curve to sit nicely. It just makes that curve nice and round and not boxy. So now it's time to do those flat felled seams. So basically what you do is you have a larger seam allowance when you do this, and you're folding the seam allowance in half and then folding it in half again. I'm going to show you what that looks like up close. 3, 2, 1, 0. Here it is. That's what it looks like. So you're just folding that seam allowance twice, and then you're going to stitch over that hemline, and it looks really nice. Open up a pair of your jeans and look on the inside. This is probably what some of the seams look like. It's called a flat felled seam, and it looks really nice. And then you're ready to fit your bag onto your pot and see how far over you want to fold it. Like I said, I gave myself 4 extra inches to do this. Fold it over about 2 inches and then fold it over 2 inches again, and that would be 4 inches. And then if you want, you can sew that hem. Hemming this fold is obviously completely optional. I think without hemmed, like without actually sewing the hem, it looks really effortless, but with the hem, I think it looks a little bit more polished. So it's really up to you and what you want to do. But either way, if you decide not to do the hem all the way around, I would still suggest putting some stitches maybe in just like a couple different places around the bag, just so that it stays in place and you're not having to deal with it unrolling all the time. I mean, not that you're going to be like playing with the bag, but I think that it just is nice to have it be a little bit secure so you know where it's supposed to be folded. And before I show you the final product of what we just made together, I wanted to show you the first plant bag that I made. So this is a really, really big one that goes on my Monstera Deliciosa. This is the 23-inch measurements, which actually ended up being wrong. The plant bag was way too big, so I have some permanent pins in it. But look how nice that looks. I love it. All right, my friends, the final plant bag is done and I'm so excited about it. I love it. I feel like it's very minimal, and you could definitely do this in so many different colors, and you can even add a lining in and do like a fun print. But I just think it's so beautiful, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial seeing how to make this plant bag. If you have any ideas for a future plant DIY video, or just any DIYs regarding plants that you see online that you might be interested in trying out but aren't exactly sure how to execute them, maybe let me know down in the comments down below. You can email me a photo if you want to go the extra mile. I'll put my email on the screen. But I am trying to make DIY content a bigger part of my channel because it is a huge part of my life. I really like making things, and this video is sort of like a blending of my second vlog channel and my plant channel. If you didn't know, I make clothing. I actually made this dress that I'm wearing right now, among a lot of other items in my closet. So if you are interested in seeing more sewing content, or you're wanting to learn how to sew, you can go ahead and check out my second channel. I'll have that link down below. And that channel is just kind of my creative outlet channel where I just do a lot of things that are not exactly houseplant related, and then I'll also do just vlogs of my week and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, email me if you have any ideas for a future plant DIY to try out. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Hit the notifications bell so you know when I'm going to upload new videos. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time. Bye.